Hi, loving soul. Welcome back to the show. Hey, do you worry that you end up giving so much to your partner, but it's a one-way street? Have you felt like although you are prioritizing your partner's needs, they don't really prioritize you? Or maybe you felt that you weren't worthy of a loving relationship with someone, or that they might go off you unless you're putting their needs front and center and bending over backwards to accommodate them. I know you were worried about being taken advantage of again because you couldn't work out how you got to that place in past relationships, and you wish you knew what to do to make sure it didn't happen again in your next relationship. Well, this episode will update your mind so you can upgrade your love life by giving you some mindset shifts, important questions to ask yourself, and a powerful boundary visualization exercise to protect you from overgiving and being taken advantage of in future relationships. Before we get stuck into today's episode, I just wanted to share this most beautiful review that I got from a client the other day. She said, "I'd never tried hypnosis before, but it unlocked something powerful within me. Since then, I've had several sessions, and while each has been challenging and emotionally demanding, they've also been profoundly healing. Remy is a genuine gift to this world, and her kindness and skill have brought an incredible transformation into my life. I will never be able to fully repay her, but I am committed to paying it forward, sharing the light she gave me with others. Trust in her work. It has changed my life, and I have no doubt it will change yours too." So, lovely client, you know who you are. Thank you for those beautiful words. And as always, it's such a pleasure working with you. And I cannot wait to see how your next chapter unfolds. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Okay, back to today's episode. Have past love relationships brought you anxiety and stress? Maybe you've hit a wall with dating, like, why are all the good ones taken? Even though you're a go-getter, does true love feel unattainable and outside of your control? Hey, I'm Remy, clinical hypnotherapist and my master coach. In this podcast, you will learn how to heal heartache and move on from your past relationships, nurture your inner child, master your mind to work for you instead of against you, live an authentic life that's in alignment with your truth, regulate your nervous system, understand the dynamics of healthy relationships, and attract the loving relationship you truly deserve. 14 years ago, I went from being a codependent, anxious serial dater and marrier of the wrong men until I finally realised I had a lot of work to do. Well, I made it my mission to learn everything I needed from the world's best and did the work, and very quickly met the man I've been waiting a lifetime for. These days, I've got the family and life I dreamed of and use my 3-step framework to help other women claim the same power over their lives. I'm here to expand your belief of what's possible for you. You deserve unshakable self-confidence and a relationship that feels right on every level. It's time to upgrade your subconscious and start some real-life magic happening. So nestle on in and let's get to it. Any other people pleasers here today? Hi, that's me. I was a huge people pleaser, especially when it came to relationships. I had zero sense of boundaries, and it just felt like I was giving, and the other person was taking. And the worst part was I wasn't even expecting them to be giving. It wasn't even in my idea and my model of what I thought a relationship should be. And it really wasn't serving me. And honestly, it wasn't serving the other person either. But for years, I was running a really unhealthy auto program in all my relationships where I would make my boyfriend's needs front and center and literally live for them. I wanted a partner with tricky, involved, sort of high maintenance needs because it was the only way I thought I could bring any value into the relationship. If they didn't need me, then why on earth would they want me? That was literally what I realized was going on in my mind. I had such a broken sense of self-value that I offered and gave way too much. And as I said before, I didn't even want boundaries because there was no compelling sense of myself to protect. There was nothing in the boundary that I really felt I needed to protect. I was using it as a way of validating myself as a partner. That sort of need of giving. I thought that was what I was bringing to the table. I didn't realize that there was another way to be. We love it when people are living in alignment and have a strong sense of what they are bringing to this world. It's like we're all instruments, and when someone knows what instrument they're playing, that is just so compelling. We can't get enough of it. It comes with an energy that is just magnetic, being like that. As humans, we want someone who is in alignment. I was actually scared to look at my own beliefs about myself for a long time because I believe my own stories. I thought that I wasn't worthy of love, and I really believe that this was the case. I thought all I have to give is being helpful and helping someone else in their life. And if beyond that, why on earth would anyone be interested in me? But when I did start to lift the lid and sort of look under the bonnet of what was really going on and start questioning the way I was thinking about myself and about relationships, I developed a real awareness that all these beliefs and stories I had taken on as a child. And when I was being parented by two humans who were really doing their best and loved me the best way that they knew how, and I had taken the way they were acting and made a meaning out of it that actually wasn't accurate. And I made it mean something about myself that wasn't true. So it was like when my dad acted like he didn't want me around, I took it to mean that I wasn't good enough. I couldn't understand back then that he wasn't capable of vulnerability or giving the warm love that I deserved. And he probably was horrified at his own awkwardness around being a dad, which probably made him want to build an even bigger wall between us. But as a child, you don't see the reality of that. You see your parents as two idols who can do no wrong and are, for all wants and purposes, sort of perfect. Especially back when I was young in the 80s. It's not like it is now, where I admit every single flaw of myself to my children and we have open discussions about coaching and being human. It just wasn't like that back then. So it was easy to assume that I was the problem, not them. So once I'd worked out what I was doing and that all these beliefs that I had taken on as a child were actually no longer serving me, I made the conscious decision to see myself as the person I really wanted to be, the Remy in the future that I wanted, not somebody who attracted these people who took advantage of me because I let them, and who I used to see myself as just, less than my partner. Like, I was super lucky to have them in my life. And while a lot of the time, that is the case, we are lucky to have someone in our life and to have that sense of partnership and love, but they're also lucky to have us for many reasons. And I started focusing on all the wonderful things that I bring to my friends and family and loved ones, and really valuing myself. And that meant taking a really deep look at all the areas of my life and then consciously making sure that I was happy and working towards what I wanted and living in alignment in all of those areas in a way that really developed my self-esteem and self-confidence. We'll go into that in another episode. But once I had established that, then I realized that I needed to put really strong boundaries in place that protected my divine wonderfulness inside, that I was able to give and love. And then at the same time, I was also able to protect my needs and respect myself and not give everything to somebody else. So that's what we're going to look at in this episode, how you can successfully be a loving, empathetic partner while also protecting your own needs. Now, one of the most powerful ways I know of doing this is building really successful, strong, beautiful, flexible, appropriate boundaries into yourself. A bit later on, we're going to do a very powerful boundary visualization so that you can build your own boundary and always have that boundary come to mind and feel protected and reinforced by that boundary whenever you need it. But first of all, we're going to look at what a boundary truly is and ask some really important questions so we can be very aware of our weaknesses and where we might be dipping a little bit into codependency. So we can think of a boundary like a sort of protective force field or shield around us that we can infuse with all our values and our sense of self and our self self-worth and our self-trust, and use all these very important pieces of knowledge to govern the way we behave and act and think even about the world around us. Now, these boundaries can change. Usually it's quite person specific, or at least circumstance or context specific. So for instance, at work, you may have a boundary that allows you to build a personal brand coming across as very professional, while still inside obviously feeling things and having strong opinions on things. But then your boundary prevents you from, in an ideal world, from sort of sharing or voicing or airing these issues that you have with people, and instead not bottling up but keeping them inside and then processing them in an appropriate way so that you maintain the brand or image you want to have at work. It's the same sort of thing in a relationship. So with a new partner, you obviously want to show your true self to them and to be exactly who you are and share the needs that you have and be fun and, have wonderful conversations and give them a little insight into yourself, while at the same time maintaining a sense of, a boundary, not giving everything just yet, not offering to do too much for them, not allowing them in too deep, not sharing your deepest, darkest secrets with them, perhaps not sleeping with them yet, It's almost like building a healthy sense of restraint that's completely appropriate to the situation and allows you to show yourself and for you two to get to know each other and be really authentic without giving everything away, and doing that in a way that feels really good to you. There's no right or wrong. It's just what works for you with that person. As long as you are consciously acting and thinking and behaving in ways that serve you and that you're really happy with, then it's just a really good sign that you've got a really strong, healthy boundary going on. So let's have a think about what knowledge we want to pour into this boundary to make sure that it's really serving us in the best way. So 3 good things to start with are, number 1, knowing the roots of a healthy relationship, as we spoke about in episode 1. The 5 healthy factors, FACTRS. We have got friendship, attraction, congruent values and beliefs, so being on the same page, trust, and respect. When you know how important all these things are in a relationship, it's really helpful because then you can assess how your new relationship is really starting to build on those roots. So it's a bit like sprinkling the seeds that you want in your relationship. You know what you're sowing, so you know what you're trying to grow, and it gives you a really clear benchmark of what you're looking for in a relationship and how to sort of assess the potentiality of a partner and make sure that they are serving you and that the relationship is worth your time. In all honesty, I know when I realised what these roots were, when I went through a relationship where one of the roots was completely missing, I found myself just not attracted to that person anymore. I knew that they weren't right for me, and I love myself enough to not even want that in my life. And it all becomes apparent very early on. It's very quickly you can see the truth of a relationship and whether or not somebody is going to align with those 5 roots. Yeah, and if they don't, why would you even pursue it? Actually, I've missed something out here. So you wouldn't bother pursuing it as long as you're aware of the 2 very important truths that are, number 1, love is abundant, and yes, there are plenty of fish in the sea. And number 2, yes, these fish are available for you too. Not just other people, but you as well. So when we're not thinking with through the filter of scarcity and fear, then you can relax in the knowledge that these 5 roots are a very important and precise benchmark to work with. So you kind of go into a relationship having this mindset of, well, if they're not for me, that's fine. It's just a stepping stone up to the next person who is going to be even more for me, because in this relationship I would have taken on all the lessons and learnings and knowledge and preferences that are now even more fine-tuned. I know even more what I don't want and what I do want, and that means that I am able to step on over them and make space for what is going to serve me, what I do want in my life. And when you make space for these things and you trust that they're coming, well, it will just find itself to you. Anyone who knows me knows that I am very into the law of attraction, purely because I have been skeptical about it for so long, and it has never let me down. Truly, 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 what you believe is what you shall receive. So you might as well believe the good stuff. So beyond roots, another thing that you can infuse your boundary with is your trust in yourself to follow your instincts on red flags that you notice come up in relationships. I don't know about you, but in most of my relationships, I think I spotted the massive red flag that ended up breaking us up on the first date. It's like when someone turns around to you and says, I'm not really into commitment, and you're like, in your mind, oh, is that a problem? Or do you know what? Maybe this will just be the one true love that turns their whole mind around, because it happens all the time, doesn't it? Bad boys become good boys and they fall in love, and think of all the movies that's happened in, like Pretty Woman. I'm going to be like Julia Roberts. And then, no, the reality is it doesn't work. It doesn't turn out that way more often than not. And if you have somebody who turns around and mentions a massive red flag and is actually upfront and self-reflective enough to know that this is something that might potentially be a problem, we really owe it to them to sit up and listen if it's not congruent with our values, and not just be like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, that's no problem. I'm not really into commitment either. When you full well know that you are totally into commitment and, would like to get married one day, not necessarily to them, but to someone. So it's just about being honest with yourself and really recognizing that, you can trust yourself. You do know red flags, and it's up to us to hold our boundaries and respect the red flags. And other sorts of red flags can be things around that people are not so aware of. They're more dangerous, if you like, red flags. They're a bit more covert. They're not as obvious. And it's things where, for instance, somebody says they're going to meet you or ring you at a certain time, and then they let you down. And that breaks the trust route. But then if that happens more than once, that's a red flag. That is a red flag. They're showing that they are not reliable. They don't have enough respect for you, which is another red flag of a route. And instead of coming up with questions about how much you deserve, whether you're knocking a gift horse in the mouth, whether this is all you're going to get anyway, who are you to be turning down a potential partner when they're hot or lovely or good in bed or take care of you because they take you out on dates, or whatever reason it is. No, there's a red flag there. Could you really put up with that for the long term if they continue to disrespect you? No, you absolutely couldn't. When you have children, are you going to want someone that's going to disrespect you and not be there for you and not be where they're supposed to be when they say they're going to be there, or ring you, or be unreliable? No, you don't want that in your life, and you deserve far more. And by sticking to the belief in what you want is coming to you, you will get it. But if you never allow yourself the space to call someone like that in and allow them to come into your life and literally receive them into your life, if we are blocking that off and we are stopping it from coming in, it's just not going to come in. And yes, you are going to end up being stuck with somebody who doesn't make you happy. And over time, these red flags amplify. So it's very important we listen to ourselves. Now, I'm just going to say it again. We always pick up on red flags. It's just the story we give ourselves around them to justify them and make out like they're okay and something that we can forgive and move on and ignore and give them the benefit of the doubt on, which is okay once, maybe twice if they have a very good reason. But honestly, no more than that, because you deserve better, my love. Which brings us to another lovely thing, very important thing as well, that we can pour into our boundaries, and that is having a real sense of self-worth. Knowing what you're worth and what you deserve in a relationship is just so super important. I used to have this awful sense of self where I really felt like I was not wifey material, which sounds crazy saying it out loud, but I really didn't. I didn't think, my parents were divorced. We struggled for money when I was younger, and I just thought that was completely unacceptable and would be unacceptable for the partner I wanted to marry. And I really saw myself as sort of a bit on the side rather than the main woman. And I found it very hard to hold my power. And when I realised that, which I didn't. It's really hard to realize these things straight away and before somebody points it out to you. Luckily, I had a mentor who did point it out to me and made me have a good look at how I was seeing myself, which is what I hope I get to do for you now. But I really sort of realized, gosh, I really don't feel like I am deserving of anything wonderful. And I really can't even see myself as being, a well kept, a well respected and loved wife, and I think it flows through all areas of life. I guess it was really showing up in my career as well. I didn't really believe in myself enough to think that I could command a strong career, but that's probably a conversation for another time. But anyway, so a sense of self and a sense of self-worth is very important to have in your boundary. So just have a little think about how you are thinking of yourself. And a good way to do that is to consider these important questions. And the first question that we've already touched on a little bit is, how do I think of myself in this relationship? And if you're not in a relationship at the moment, this is a great question to ask yourself about past relationships that you've been in to make sure that you're learning and growing from each relationship. Actually, that goes for all of these questions. So how do I think of myself in this relationship? What is my perception of how important I am in the relationship and the value that I bring to the relationship? How confident am I about how my partner is really feeling about me? What do I think I need to do to keep my partner liking me? So these are all really good insights into your perception of yourself and the value that you're bringing to the relationship. And another way of looking at it is asking yourself what value I am getting from this relationship. What vision do I have for this relationship? And why am I here? What's keeping me here? You can rate your happiness generally as well in the relationship. Give it a score out of 10. On a general day-to-day basis, I feel out of 10 happiness here. Just having that conscious awareness of your daily thoughts about the relationship as well is really helpful. So am I trending in a negative direction with my thoughts, or is it more of a positive vibe about the thoughts? How am I feeling about the relationship on a day-to-day basis? And of course, the great way to assess the health of our relationship is to measure it up against the factors. So the 5 factors we spoke about in episode 1 that I mentioned earlier, but let's see how, really go there and take a look and assess each one of those. What's my sort of friendship score going? Do I like him as a friend? And do we respect each other? And is there trust there? And are we on the same page? Do we have open conversations so we can actually even establish what our beliefs and values are and our wants for our lives and how we sort of see our futures going? And am I actually attracted to him? Or am I just sort of putting up with something just because I think this is the best I'm going to get? I think sometimes it's really easy to get sidetracked and not focus on how we're feeling and all these important questions we need to be asking ourselves in a relationship. I think it's because we get so sidetracked by the anxiety of not having the relationship that we don't even want to have a look at the truth of where we're at. We want to tell ourselves quite often that things are going fine and this is going to work, when really all the signs are there that this is not the relationship for us. And remember, by making space in your life for what is for you, that's exactly how we allow it into our life. If we are not making space for what we want, then we are literally blocking it. Your eyes aren't open to all the possibilities out there, and instead you're living in sort of this mindset of fear and lack. And nothing good is attracted to us in that energy. That is not what you deserve. You deserve to be attracting exactly what you want and to be really high vibe and bringing more of that feeling into your life. So to help you stay high vibe and to be able to confidently attract relationships without having that fear of overgiving or falling into the dips and traps that you might have done in past relationships, and really making sure that you are able to hold your space strongly and really nurture and be in control of how you distribute your energy, let's go into this lovely visualization. All right, so we're going to start by just closing your eyes and taking a deep cleansing breath. Inhale deeply through your nose for a count of 4. feeling your ribs expand as far as they will go. Hold for 4 seconds and then exhale slowly through your mouth for 6. Let's do that one more time. Take a deep breath in for a count of 4. Hold it there for 4. And exhale slowly, pushing your belly button towards your spine and releasing all the air. That's it. Now we're going to imagine a soft, warm light radiating from your heart center in the color of your choice. This light represents your giving energy, your love, care, generosity, empathy, and effort that you bring with so much love. See it as limitless, but also recognize that it is precious and deserves wise stewardship. Now visualize this light inside your heart center, forming a beautiful shield or bubble around you. You see it expand to contain all of what you are. The shield is strong but flexible, glowing and vibrant in its color. The shield, however, doesn't block connection. Instead, it serves as a filter. As you focus on the shield, say to yourself or in your mind, "This shield honors my energy and protects my boundaries. I give from a place of balance and abundance, not depletion. I am worthy of receiving as much as I give." Use the power of your imagination to visualize being with people you care about and your golden light flowing outward in a balanced, manageable stream. When others try to take more than they should or demand from you unfairly, the shield gently redirects the excess back to them or disperses it into the air. Your shield ensures that only reciprocal, balanced, and healthy energy exchanges are allowed to pass through. Now focus again on your heart center, the bright light in your chest. Feel how steady and infinite it is. And you recognize that it is yours. And nobody is able to take from it without your permission. You are fully in control of your energy of giving. Now put your hands to your heart center again and feel the weight of these very important, powerful directions to your unconscious. I trust my ability to give wisely and receive fully. I honor my time, my energy, and my needs. I am enough, just as I am. I am worthy of the love I truly deserve. Imagine your shield shimmering with strength and love. Know that it stays with you always, even as you open your eyes and return to the present moment. Anytime you feel your boundaries being tested, you can simply place your hands to your heart center, take a breath, and feel once again your sense of power of this shield and the beautiful boundary that you have built. Well done, you have created your own beautiful boundary. And a great little exercise to do is to picture the person that you want to activate the boundary for. So if you are entering a new relationship, or do you know what, you can even do it with your kind of mental idea of the vision of the relationship you want, and you can test to see how it works. Just imagine the presence of that person standing in your periphery, and then close your eyes and get a sense of this boundary and just see how it reacts to them. And you can tweak it accordingly to make it work the very best way for you. But I tell you what, it's also a lovely thing to do in the holidays if you're around family who might not have the most positive energy around you. You can practice your boundary with them as well. Just bring your boundary into your awareness by touching your hands to your heart center And that will just give you, it's interesting, see what it gives you. Just give it a try and then just see how it works. It's fascinating. It really is a very powerful tool. If you'd like some guidance on any answers to some of the questions that you asked yourself today, or you have any other questions about boundary work, come and join us in our Facebook group, which is bit.ly/breaking toxic relationship patterns. I'll leave the link in the show notes. If you'd like to do some more intensive work on your boundaries and learn how to trust yourself again in relationships, or if you're ready to supercharge the upgrade of your love life, you can work with me one-on-one. Start your journey at www.herloveupgrade.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, please can you come and leave me a review on Apple Podcasts? Just scroll down to the bottom of the podcast page and then click write a review. It would mean the world to me, and it really helps to spread the word and get this podcast into the ears of the women who need to hear it. All right, lovely souls, thank you for hanging out with me, and I look forward to being back in your ears later on this week. Take care. You should be so proud of this courageous, incredible journey you are on, and I'm so happy to be here supporting you to say goodbye to toxic relationships and claim the wonderful life and love you truly deserve. If you have a friend who you think needs to hear today's episode too, why not spread the love and share it with them? Sending you so much love in abundance. Until next time.